Hashem, that we're able to learn every day. In this class of learning, we should have the base of Mikdash immediately. Today we're going to start Chaf Hey Amad Beis, 11 lines from the bottom. Rebbe Reb Chia, that's 25b. Rebbe Reb Chia. Rebbe and his student Reb Chia, Chad Hela Ben al Piyav Lakuna, V'Chad Hela Ach al Piyav Lalavia. One of them raised the status of someone's son based on the father's testimony that he was a Kohen. And the other one raised the status of a brother that he's a Levi based on the testimony of the brother. So basically we have relatives here testifying about their relative, that he's either a Kohen or Levi. Now Rebbe and Reb Chia, one of them did one of them did the other. We have to figure out who was which. Now I mean, if the father's a Kohen, then the son's a Kohen, unless his wife is problematic. So that would be what the testimony is. I guess that you should know that my wife and this is he's a legitimate. Tistayim de Rebbe Hela ben al Piyav Lakuna. Let it be settled. Let us prove that Rebbe is the one that had the father testifying, that recognized the father's testimony about the son to make the son a Kohen. The Tanya's was taught in a brisa. If someone comes along and says, "This boy, he's my son," because we didn't know that it was the son, and he also says v'kayinu, and he's also a Kohen. The father's a Kohen, so he's a Kohen, right? Sounds like the joke. It's this seems to be obvious. However, let's take a look. We'll see in a moment in Rashi. He's trusted we trust him that the child can eat truma, but we don't trust him that the child can now go ahead and get married. What's the issue of getting married? So Rashi says, you see that's Rashi? It's 3 lines from the bottom of the Rashis. Rashi's concerned about something that never even entered our minds. We're discussing if this fellow's a Kohen. Turns out, Rashi says, well, we trust him that he can eat truma. But when it comes to marriage, we're concerned that maybe he's a mamzer or a nasan. It's like a contradiction over here. If he's a Kohen, he can't be a mamzer. How can he be a mamzer and a Kohen? If his wife is not legitimate, then the Kohen wasn't allowed to marry.
If the son's the monster, can he still give him truma?
No. Oh, maybe. No, if he's a chalal, he can't. No. Yeah. Not a chalal. Yeah, I think we learned that was clear. Okay. There's a big discussion here. Taisus wants to learn that what's happening is that what we're saying is he's not, what do we mean he's not trusted to allow him to get married? So Taisus says what this means is that even if there would be another witness that would say that he was that this person was a Kohen, the father's testimony cannot be joined together with this person's testimony. And it's even stronger than what we were thinking that, okay, we can't trust him alone, but let's say if there was someone else that can join together, Taisus says, no, also not that. Okay, well, that's Divrei Rebbe, that's the words of Rebbe. Amalei Reb Chia, imatam aminu la'achila b'truma taminu la'asi isha. What's going on? Make up your mind. If you trust him for truma, if you trust the father for truma, so trust him to marry to get married. And if you don't trust him to get married, so why do you trust him that he could eat truma? I know the answer. I don't know why Reb Chia is asking the question. Because one is much stricter, and we've been going through this before. And like you said, that well, first of all, is it truma? What type of truma are we dealing with? Are we dealing with truma derabanan? Are we dealing with truma deraisa? But the way the Ritva learns this is that there's a rule that a father's trusted to say that this is my son. Learn from the pasuk Yakir. Question is, how far does that go? Does that go they can say it's his son and other details that he's a Kohen as well, or is it just that? So if Yakir continues, so Reb Chia is saying if Yakir continues more than just this is his son, so then let it continue and he should be able to eat Truma and he should also be able to get married. And if Yakir doesn't continue, Yakir is just this is my son, but I can't tell you any details about him. So then why is he allowed to eat Truma? So Amalei, he says back, Ani ma'amin al achila b'truma shebiyad al achila b'truma. Ve'ini ma'amin al asiyisha shem biyad al asiyisha. There's different ways of learning this also. But simply, if the father wanted to give the son Truma, he would give the son Truma. So he gives the son Truma. You can't just give him a wife. There's other people involved. So since it's biyadai, there's different ways of learning biyadai. If that's a type of ne'amanas, like amigo, if I wanted to, I would have. So now trust me. Or is it just biyadai? It's something. Yeah, is it a ne'amanas independent of amigo? That's what it is. Or is it amigo? Well, whatever the case is, Rebbe has an explanation why he's only trusted for Truma, but not to get him married. Okay, the Gemara says to Stayim. You have a good point. If that's the case, then Rebbe was probably the one that says that a father is trusted to say that his son's a Kayan. And so Rebbe must have been that one, because we had another case here, which is the brother. Now, if that's the case, either Rebbe hella ben al piyav of lakuna, Reb Chia hella ach al piyav lelavia. Then we had two cases. One of them was done by Rebbe, one of them was done by Reb Chia. If we've just determined that Rebbe did the father one, so then Reb Chia did the other one, which is the brother became a Levi based on the brother's testimony. For Reb Chia, the Gemara asks, Reb Chia maishna ben deloi karovei telaviv. Why doesn't Reb Chia trust the father? So, because the father's a relative. So if that's the case, achnami karovei telaviv. Why does he trust the brother? The brother's making him into a Levi. He's saying that my brother's a Levi. My answer is on top of Chavav, Mesiach Lefitumai. It's this concept of a person that's just talking and he doesn't realize that he's giving testimony. He's just saying a story. If that's the case, and we trust people in certain cases. Mesiach Lefitumai. There happens to be that there's two rules. Mesiach Lefitumai. A few things, but one of them is that it really only works for a derabanan. But yeah, that's the problem in Simon Tzadachas. Remember, it says Mesiach Lefitumai. There's a problem over there because if there's a taruvas, we trust the kfela. Remember, it's a problem. And it's the shach's question. Over there, it's in Daraisa. Remember, there was a shachvav or something. I don't remember. Right. That's what would determine that it's Mesiach Lefitumai. So what we're saying over here is that Reb Chia is trusting the brother because it's Mesiach Lefitumai. Ki had Rav Yehuda Mishmuel Ma'aseh the Mechad Shei Mesiach Lefitumai. We have a story. The person was Mesiach Lefitumai. He was Mesiach means he's speaking. Lefitumai just like naturally, offhandedly, innocently, without knowing that there's other ramifications. V'amar, and he said, Zechurani Kishani Tinak. I remember. When I was a child, Merkav al Kseifa Shel Abba, and I was on my father's shoulders. They took me out of school. They took off my clothing. They put me in the mikveh. So that I should be able to eat truma in the evening. So what's the issue over here? That a kohen, in order to eat truma, he needs to go to the mikveh, and then he has to wait for nightfall. So they put him in the mikveh. He's saying, I remember they put me in the mikveh. Okay, for Reb Chia Messiah, but Reb Chia concludes, V'chaver b'dilim imeni, v'yakar mesiyachin eichel chalas. V'helu Rebbe lekun al piv. That throws us off a little bit. But Reb Chia concluded that his friends were distancing from him. In other words, they didn't want to touch him because they didn't want to contaminate him. And they were calling him Yechanan eichel chalas. Yechanan that eats challah. That was I guess a nickname for a kohen. It was Yechanan. Wasn't maybe his name was Yechanan, but whatever the case is,
The story happened to the guy who was Yochanan.
that I don't know. Yechanan may be just a nickname for a Kayan. Like they say Lubavitch, or they say Mendel. And they say so anyway, so what are we seeing from this? We're seeing that he's Misiach Levitumai. What is Reb Chia coming in, adding to what was already said by Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel? Reb Chia is adding in one more point. You see, who put him in the mikveh? He was on his father's shoulders. So it's his father. So his father's testimony. We're not looking for the father's testimony. We're looking for other people's testimony. The father, that was Rebbe's thing. So Reb Chia maybe adds in that my friends were separating from me. That there's more of a point. That there was this testimony from other people. I don't know if that's going to help us.
Said before about the other losses.
Yeah.
The fact that other people are giving the firma, people already believe in. So he's ready to be able to give a son. Same concept over here that the other people are separating from him, they're calling him. Same concept with the other. People already acknowledge they're around.
I don't know if I want the same concept. Actually, maybe I do. See, there's a basic question over here. We have a Gemara where we have two cases. Rebbe is doing one and Reb Chia is doing the other. We proved that Rebbe is doing one, and now therefore it must be Reb Chia that's doing the other. Now, Tosfos asks on the top, the Mesiach Vitumai. So how do you know which one is which? Maybe Reb Chia did the father. It was Mesiach Vitumai. You just told me that Reb Chia is masking if it's Mesiach Vitumai. If he's talking, he doesn't know that it's testimony. So maybe he was the one that's with the father. And Tosfos says that over here it's not biyadai. See here by the Levi, in this case, which is Reb Chia's case, we don't want to be biyadai. We don't want to be biyadai because Rebbe and Reb Chia had an argument about biyadai. We're looking for a case where it's not biyadai. So the father gave the son that was biyadai to give him truma anyway. Over here, he's making him into a Levi. I'm not sure why it's not biyadai. If the father is a Levi, I'm sorry, if the brother's a Levi, he can give him his meiser. What are we talking about, meiser? Okay, whatever the case is. Tanya, start in a brisa. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, truma, chazaka lakuna, just like truma is an establishment that someone is a kohen, at least for that. Kach meiser rishon chazaka lakuna. Also, meiser rishon is a chazaka for kuna. Now, this is a little shocking because meiser rishon is usually given to the Levi, not to the kohen. The Gemara says, it concludes this brisa, someone that divides in a bezdin, ain't a chazaka, that's not considered a chazaka. Gemara is going to be a little surprised about this also because you don't have anything better than a bezdin. The bezdin is giving the guy truma. So then for sure he's a kohen, right? They're saying, no, we don't trust the bezdin. Okay, we'll see. The Gemara is going to ask it. Meiser rishon, Gemara says, Meiser rishon the Levi, who first question, big question. What are we talking about? That Meiser rishon makes a person into a kohen. It doesn't make him into a kohen. It makes him into a Levi. Gemara says, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. We're following the opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. Truma l'kohen, Meiser rishon l'Levi. That's the way we always understood that the truma, which is the first separation of the grain, see the 40th, right, the 50th or 60th of the grain is given to the kohen. That's the truma. Depends how generous he is, right? Meiser Rishon is given to the Levi. The first tithe is given to the Levi. Divrei Rabbi Kiva. That's Rabbi Kiva's words. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Meiser Rishon af l'kayin. Meiser Rishon can be given to the kayin. Well, now we have our proof, right? If Meiser Rishon can be given to the kayin, we see that he's a kayin. Gemara says, Eimed Amar Rabbi Elazar af l'kayin. It only says that also to the kayin. So now you don't have a proof that he's a kayin, because if you give also to the kayin, that means that maybe he's a kayin, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's a Levi. Does it only go to the kayin and not to the Levi? The Gemara says yes. It only goes to the kayin, not the Levi. In Basad the Kensu Ezra. What happened was, people came back from Bavel. Only 42,360 came back. The Levium didn't come with. There was a decree on the Levium that they're not going to get the. Well, not all the Levium came, and I think the Levium that came were not the Miyuchasim. I think the Miyuchasim, the ones that had the good lineage, stayed in Bavel. Other ones came back, and Ezra didn't give the Levium the Meiser. Then it went to the poor or to the Kayanim. There's a question if it doesn't mean the Kayanim are the poor. We had this discussion in Yevamos. Yeah. Well, it's not such a problem, as we'll see in a second. So now there's two ways of learning this Gemara here. When it says Basad the Kensu Ezra, can you learn this that now it's Rabbi Akiva as well? That he's a Kohen, or is it still only following Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah?
Why would they punish?
The ones that came back, it was something against the tribe of Levi. They didn't come back right away. It was calling people to come back to the Beis Hamikdash. They wanted to stay in Bavel. Dilma Ikru v'Yavalei. Maybe the fact that he got Meiser it happened to be that he got Meiser. Maybe how do you know that it's a real proof that he is a Kayan? We know that the father's a Kayan. However, there became a problem. We know the father's a Kayan, but then there was a rumor that the wife and the son of the wife of the Kayan is really a grusha or a chalutza. Chalutza is that she didn't end up marrying the brother of the widow. So she becomes a divorcee. It's like a divorcee. It's a chalutza. She does chalitza. And then she ends up marrying the Kayan. So now a Kayan wasn't supposed to marry a chalutza. And then, so we had a rumor about him, but then he ends up getting Meiser in the granary. Levi, we know that he's not a Levi, the Lav Levi. So what is the issue? Ben Grusha ben Chalutza, but maybe he is a Kayan, but he's a Chalal, because he's a Ben Grusha ben Chalutza. Says I know for sure that there's one opinion that holds that the Meiser Rishon is not allowed to be given to a Zar. See, usually we learn that Meiser Rishon is not, it doesn't have the holiness. You give it to the Levi, but he just owns it, and he can give it to whoever he wants. But if you say that that's not so, that it can't be given to a Zar, so then obviously this person is a Kayan. Even according to the opinion that says that it is allowed to be given to a Zar, that's only to give them a little bit to sustain them. But when they're coming to the distribution of Meiser, it's definitely not distributed to a Zar. It was only that he was allowed to eat it. If you wanted to, to sit with him and eat. Okay, so that's why we're saying that this is proving, if people are now giving him Meiser, that's proving that he's really a Kayan. Okay, now we go back to the question we said, V'achelik bebezdin ein a chazaka. Someone that divides in Bezdin, it's not a chazaka. Really? In Bezdin? Ibe Bezdin le'avi chazaka, hey chavi chazaka. Yes is going to be a chazaka if it doesn't work in Bezdin. Rav Sheshes explains Hachi Kamar to see what the case is. It's totally different. It was an inheritance story. The father passed away. There's all this produce that they have to divide up. He ends up getting the truma from the father's inheritance. Doesn't mean he's a Kayan. I mean, the father was a Kayan. The brothers are Kayanim. But he may be the son of a Grush and a Chalutza. So it doesn't say Eina Chazaka. That doesn't tell us because he got that portion. He ended up with that portion of the inheritance. Doesn't tell us that he's a kohen. Umar says pshita, of course. Umar says, well, 1 second. Since all the brothers are getting what to eat, he's also getting what to eat. It's coming to tell us that this brother is not getting what to eat. He's getting what to sell. The others are getting what to eat. And truma that ends up in the hands of someone that can't eat it, so what? He could sell it. That's what he wanted. He ended up getting that. That doesn't mean he's a kohen. Okay, we had a discussion before in the Mishnah. I'm going quick because I have to go to the airport soon. So,
Oh, wow, yeah, that's right. I thought there was something.
see how far we can get.
How long is it going for?
No, I'm dropping off my son. I'm going for a half hour. Rabbi Yehuda says that you can't use one witness to make someone into a kohen. And Rabbi Elazar says that's only if there's someone contesting. But if there is no one contesting, then you can use one witness to make someone a kohen. And Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said the name of Reb Shimon Askan that he could use one witness. The Gemara asks right away, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Hainu Reb Elazar. Shimon ben Gamliel says he can use one witness. Reb Elazar says he can use one witness. What's the machlokes? Everyone's saying the same thing, right? Maybe what they're saying is that if one person contests, is that considered contesting? Well, the Reb Elazar Savar, it's supposed to be Reb Elazar. Reb Elazar Savar Ir Chad Javier, right? I'm adding that in. That if one person contests, that's considered contesting. One person says, no, he's not a kohen. So it stops the whole thing. We heard from one person that he's not a kohen. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Savar Ir Trey. Shimon ben Gamliel says, no, you need two people. Everyone agrees that contesting is a problem. The question is, what is considered contesting his lineage? His opinion is, I can use one person to make him into a kohen, as long as there's no one contesting. Now, how what does it mean contesting? It's one or two. Yeah, so that very interesting. The problem is, I think maybe because one person maybe could get angry with him, and when someone says something negative about someone, just one person, we can't believe that. Something positive would have been different, maybe. The problem is, there's no such thing as contesting less than two people. Yeah. We know that his father's a kohen. But then a rumor went out that this person is really a son of a divorcee. Means the wife of the kohen was not really legitimate to marry the kohen. She was a divorcee, and now the child becomes a chalal. So he's not a kohen now. But I don't know. I don't know how the rumor goes out. People just start to whisper in the market. And they take him out. They stop giving him the truma. One witness comes and says, what are you talking about? He's a kohen. So they put him back up. Then another two come. They say, no, he's not a kohen. So they put him down. And then one witness comes and says, no, he's a kohen. But the Kuli Alma, everyone agrees, mitzdarf and Leidos, that the first witness that said that he was a kohen, and then after the two other contestants came, another witness shows up, says he's a kohen. Those two witnesses can join together. Here we're discussing, does it look bad for Bezdin to keep putting this person in, putting him out? It looks really bad. Can you make up your mind? So Tanakama Savik even the Tanakama says no, we don't. Once we brought him down, we can't bring him back up. It's already did this twice already, so it's not appropriate for the Bezdin for this to keep going back and forth. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says that we're the ones that put him down. We're the ones that bring him up. We're not concerned about how it looks for Bezdin. We do what's best for him. Maskler Rav Ashi, Yachi afilu trei nami. Why are you telling me that it was one witness and one witness? The same shaila you should have if two witnesses came that he said he's a kohen. Then there's the two witnesses said that he's not. It would also go back and forth, and you would have the same problem of zilusa de beidina. Why do you have to have the case of the one witness story? Rashi says really what we're dealing with is, can you join two witnesses from two different testimonies to join together to be the two witnesses? Okay.
Okay, let's say you can't. Go ahead. You have two that say yes, two that contest. Who wins?
So it's I don't know. That would be trey if you join them. Trey means two against two. So
Cancel each other
they would
out.
cancel each other out. Mistar from latest commitment. Looked at the Hani Tanoi. The Tani was taught in the Brisa. Any dusam it's the such huge name keachad. They have to both see together. This is not talking about testifying together. They have to see it together. Rabbi Shua, that's talking about when some scenario that they're testifying about. Rabbi Shua ben Karchaim Rafilu b'zeachar zeh. They don't have to see it together, even if the one sees it after the other. Next case, they have to testify together. Reb Nosson says, "Sheimin devar shel zeh hayom." You can testify about this person today. When his friend comes tomorrow, we'll hear what he says, and so they can testify on different days. According to Reb Nosson, what comes out is that would be Reb Shimon ben Gamliel's view that one witness testified he's a kohen yesterday, another witness testifies he's a kohen today. We'll add them both together. We have two witnesses. He's a kohen. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. I'm leaving early.
Continue
Huh?
negative or positive.
It cancels. We